What's up, divas and divos? And it's your girl April, and it's time for Real Talk Wednesday. So if you guys are not aware and you're new to my channel, every Wednesday is Real Talk, and what you need to do is go ahead and email me at MuffinIsMyLovers2012@gmail.com. and if you have any situation in your life that you may need opinions or advice on, you can go ahead and put that in the email. Make sure to put in the subject line Real Talk, and us ladies here and gentlemen on the YT will get back to you as soon as possible. So for this week, it is going to be three videos because I have gotten a lot of emails since last Wednesday for Real Talk, and so I thank you guys all for sending me your emails and keeping this show going, because it's really important to just give our opinions. Some of us can be biased, some of us have gone through a situation, so it's just really important to leave your comments below as well as any advice that you may have. Now, as far as the hair that I'm rocking, it's still the same hair from last week, which is the hair from AliExpress, which is by Rosa Hair, and it's the deep wave, which I made into a full wig, and it's a silk based closure. I do have it in two braids, still cornrows, and I do have a video that I've already created. I just need to edit that so that way I can show you guys how I went ahead and doing these cornrows in my hair to make it look like it's my own. Now, yes, I have been wearing it like this because, ladies, it is freaking hot as hell outside out here in Arizona. So I really try to just alleviate any type of heat pressure to myself, because I do not like to be too hot. So let's get into this Real Talk, you guys. Okay, so this one here is just basically all about the workplace. So let's call her Danielle. Hi, April. My name is Danielle. I'm having a problem getting along with my female boss at my new job. I just recently graduated from college, and one of my professors hooked me up with a job. All of my old jobs, I was waitressing, so this is my actual first office job. I don't know that much about how companies' financing or payroll work, but I'm always eager to learn. Anyway, I was hired as her assistant. I've been here for about 3 months, and our relationship has gotten worse. She insists on embarrassing me in front of other coworkers. For example, if she doesn't give me any work to be done, I just sit around and wait. When she sees me just sitting, she gets mad. When there is work that needs to be done, she will push them off to the side, and the next day she is blaming me about why that same work that she has pushed off isn't completed. She talks trash about everyone in the office, so I know she's talking trash about me. I want to know, how can I tell her that she needs to stop insulting me? At the end of each workday, I'm exhausted, and going into work, I'm nervous to know At the end of each workday, I'm exhausted, and going into work, I'm nervous, just knowing what I'm about to walk into. Please help me, April. So Danielle basically started a new job. One of her professors hooked her up with a job. She's an office assistant. This is her first real office job. She's been there 3 months. She has a female boss who's basically embarrassing her in front of other coworkers, talking shit about her other coworkers, and it's making Danielle feel very uncomfortable. Besides that, she's constantly yelling at her, asking her why she's not doing anything if there's no work to be done, or if there is work to be done, her boss pushes it aside and doesn't give it to her, and then complains later on about why the work is not completed. She's nervous about going into work the next day because she doesn't really know what she's walking into, and by the end of the day, she's just exhausted and basically has had it. So she wants to know how to go about telling her boss she really needs to stop. Well, let me tell you something, Danielle. I've been in that situation at my last job, which was during the holidays, January. That was a temp job. It was a temp to hire job, and I was supposed to stay there for 3 months. It was a good paying job. I was an office assistant as well. It kind of was boring to me because my skills were way past what the job entailed, and I found myself just basically sitting there throughout the day from 7:30 to 4 in the morning, Monday through Friday. And to me, if I don't have any work to be done, I'm very bored, and if it's not challenging, it's not really what I want to do. Besides that, the boss was also a female, and she was really nasty to me. Not just to me, but just like the other co-workers. She would wave her hand off like, you know, we were beneath her. She would complain about scrap paper being cut. I'll never forget the one day they gave me a bunch of scrap paper. The scrap papers were just the regular size sheets like this, and she wanted scrap paper made into them. You know, they're just sheets like this. They were garbage. So basically she wanted them cut into 4s. Now, mind you, or just basically not even fours, into halves. They gave me a paper cutter. It was scrap paper. I didn't know it had to be aligned perfectly because you were going to use it as scrap. Had I known that the paper needed to be aligned perfectly, I would have done that. But unfortunately, I wasn't told about how she likes the paper to be done, or rubber band together. It's scrap paper. What do you do with scrap paper? You throw it in the garbage. You scrap and scratch on it and then toss it. So she had an issue about that. I overheard her speaking to one of the other office managers about the way I cut the paper, and at that point I had enough. So what I did is I handled it just as professionally as I could. I let the temp agency know that they need to either find me another placement, or I just wasn't going to go back. And I didn't go back. They told me they didn't want me to go back because there were a lot of other temps that they had placed at that certain facility, and they didn't last either because of the woman's attitude. So she needed a real attitude adjustment. And not too many of the co-workers liked her as it was. I heard a lot of office talk about the boss lady. So Danielle, is really hard to work with a female, unfortunately a female boss, because they seem to take that role as being your boss like above everything. Sometimes it seems like women who are bosses take that role as not just a boss. They feel like they're one of the gods from heaven. I'm not really sure what it is. I guess they're power tripping. They have this thing where they're in control. A lot of women don't have control in their homes, meaning if they're in a relationship, they're married or in a relationship, they don't have control in their homes. So what do? They come to work and they kind of like take that out onto their employees or their co-workers. And a lot of women take a lot of personal shit to work too with them. And that's what I find. Like, I don't like to work with women. I don't like women bosses, and I refuse to work with a woman, especially if she's going to be my boss, because they're just really personal and just so emotional. Me as a woman, I know I'm emotional too sometimes, but I don't power trip. I'm just the boss. I don't own you. I'm not running you. I'm just giving you things to do, and I'm just maybe a little bit higher than you on a pay scale or even in employment status, but it doesn't make me any better than you, because we are humans and we do have feelings. So my best suggestion to you for this particular situation, don't particularly go to her and say anything, because sometimes when you take that to that particular person, they kind of like twist your words around and make it seem as if you're the bad guy and you came in there to start some type of, you know, rigmaroles or just some type of bullshit with them. So it's always best to go to like the human resource department and talk it over with them and let them know what you're going through and what you're seeing. Because if you're going to approach your boss, your lead, your supervisor, your manager that's in charge of you, they kind of do have a little bit of status more than you, and they can always turn the situation into anything worse than what it already is because you approached them. It's kind of hard if you was to go to her and say, listen, I don't want to hear you talking about nobody, you talking trash. She's going to take that as a complaint or kind of like a verbal threat. Some people take it that way. Some people, and it's so sad and it's hard for people, but some people take your approach, especially it seems like when we as women and sometimes we as black women approach someone, and even though we're not coming at them strong, they still take it as though we are coming at them verbally strong and we are defensive always. And sometimes it's not even that. That's not the case. We're just basically stating our opinion. So my best suggestion to you, Danielle, for this is to go to the human resource department, because there is somebody over her. Her ass got hired. You know what I'm saying? Her ass got hired. So there is somebody over her. I would take my complaint to the human resource department, because it is kind of against company policy to be walking around on the floor and any type of office atmosphere and talking shit about other employees. Like, who does that? It really doesn't say good about the job environment that you're in. And I'm pretty sure the company does not want to be known for hiring somebody or having someone that's supposed to lead others that is basically on the floor misjudging people or just judging people and bashing people. So it's always best to take your opinion and any type of feelings or any type of complaint you have to human resources, so that way it can be dealt with properly. And even though you're taking it somewhere else, what happens sometimes, and I've had this situation at my last, not my last job, but the job I held for 9 years, I took it to human resource, and because one of my bosses was trying to get a little bit mouthy with me. And I'm the type of person where, listen, dude, you're going to watch yourself. You're going to really watch yourself around me, because I'm not the one. So, you know, before me spatting off and going off and spazzing off, I took it to human resource. And they kind of like dealt with it themselves internally, and they spoke with him, and they had enough complaints. So you may not be the only one, and you may be the only one that is going to go to them with a complaint, but it's always best to go to them with a complaint, because that way they can interview and ask other employees and co-workers, hey, Danielle came, or not even, they probably wouldn't even say Danielle, they would leave your name out of it, but they would come and say, hey, we've had a couple of complaints about Susan, the boss, and we want to know your intake on her. We want to know, how do you feel about her? How has she been getting along with you? What are things you've noticed on the floor? They take a lot of that into consideration, so it's always good to bring it to someone that's above her, so that way that the situation can be handled properly. And they may make you come in together as a unit and talk things over, and that also makes it a lot better because it's on record. You always want everything to be documented. And as for yourself, I would myself document what I went ahead on that particular date and that time. Danielle went to Human Resources on July 1st, 2015 at 10 a.m. and spoke to the human resource manager about her boss, Susan, and this is what you complained about, and this is what was said to you. You don't have to work everything word for word, but just try to remember the best to your ability what was said and done in that meeting with your human resource department, so that way you have it documented. Never approach your boss just like that on your own, because you don't have things documented, and she could always, or he or she could always twist your words. You always want to have a middleman, and that's always great to have a middleman. Just you going head on may make the situation a whole lot worse. So my suggestion to you is to take that to human resources and get that taken care of. Nobody wants to go to a job where you feel uncomfortable and you feel like you're not needed, or you're feeling like you're treated like beneath them. Nobody wants to work there, and I myself can totally understand, but also you do need your job. But it doesn't mean because you need your job you need to put up with the BS, the bullshit, or any of that nonsense, or her dysfunctional ass, you know. And I would suggest doing it soon, because you can't take it no more, and after a while a person that can't take too much is going to explode. So I would definitely honestly go to my human resources and let them know, hey, this is what's been going on, this is what I've been noticing. She's not just talking trash about you, you don't hear her talking trash about you, but she's belittling you and she's being disrespectful to you. However, she's also disrespecting others around her by talking trash about them, and that's against company policies. You don't do things like that at any type of work environment. So I would definitely go to human resources and let them know, this is what I've been seeing, this is what I've been hearing, this is how I've been approached by this lady, and this is how I have been talked to. That's the best situation. I mean, that's the best thing you can do in this particular situation. What would you do in a situation, or have you ever had a situation where your employer has been nitpicking and kind of like bullying you at work? Leave your information down below. This one here is about teens. So I try to get teens done as well, because you know what, I have teens as children in my household. I was a teen at once, and I'm pretty sure everybody else was, and there are a lot of ladies out here and gents that have teens in their household as well. And also we have teen viewers, so it's always best to just give our advice. And what better advice to get it from for those who've already dealt with the same situation in life. No wine, just water today. For this one, we're going to call the young lady in the video Cynthia. One of her family members are writing to me about her. Hello, ma'am. And for anyone who addresses me as ma'am again, I'm going to get really upset on camera. Just call me April. Nobody's ma'am. Not yet, anyway. So hello, ma'am. I asked about my ex-boyfriend and I before, and first let me thank you. So I guess I returned the favor and did her email. Unfortunately, our lives started leading into separate ways, but we're still associates. Even went to his undergrad graduation. Anyways, I've been trying to help my cousin, but it seems like she doesn't want to listen. She is also a subscriber, so hopefully she views this video if you record it. Her name is Cynthia, and this is not her real name. She was supposed to be graduating high school this year, but instead kept fighting, sneaking out, and skipping school, even alternative school. She feels like since she's 18, no one could tell her anything, and because her mom had 2 kids by then, she feels like her mama's words don't mean anything. She's running around with different dudes. She's got a job, got a car, quit that job and let some dude take her car, and now feels betrayed and is expecting her mama to buy her another. All she wants to do is walk around half naked and be in someone's face. I don't know what else to say to her that I haven't already said. I want her to realize she's more than a body, but she won't listen to anyone. Is there anything you can say to her? Please and thank you in advance. Her loving cousin. Wow. So she's 18. Cynthia's 18. She's skipping school, ditching school, fighting, and she feels like no one could tell her anything because she's 18. Cynthia's mother had 2 children by that age. She had a job, she had a car, but she let a guy use her car, and I guess I take it she's never gotten it back because now she wants her mother to buy her a new car, and she quit her job. And also besides that, she's walking around half-ass dressed up in every man's face. And she's also with a different dude every week, or every now and then, or just too often. So let me tell you something. We're going to call you Kimmy. Kimmy, who wrote me. First of all, your cousin Cynthia needs to get it through her thick skull. Her mother had 2 kids at that age. I guess maybe she wants to have 2 kids or just at least 1 by that age. Now, I will tell you guys something. She's 18. Yeah, you're 18. You're not grown. A lot of kids these days think that being 18 means grown. No, being grown means getting your own fucking place, having a job, having a car. And if you don't have a car, that's fine too. But having your own place, paying your own damn bills, and taking care of your business. Okay, that's what being grown is, taking care of your business. Point blank period. Taking care of your business, handling your business is being grown. And sometimes even for those who take care of their business and handle their business, they still ain't grown because they still act like a bunch of 2-year-olds walking around with brand new sneakers in a car. That still sometimes ain't grow. However, your cousin here, she may need to learn it the hard way. Seems like she's already learned it the hard way by giving up her car to some dude to let him drive it around, and I guess she feels betrayed now. What did he do? Crash the car, never come back, what have you, and she expects her mother to buy her another car? No, sweetheart, what you should do is get yourself a job and get your own car, and also stop sneaking out of school. You went to an alternative school, which means you got kicked out of regular high school because you was giving them problems, so they sent you to an alternative high school. And I know this simply because I once was in high school, got kicked out at 17 for fighting, beating a boy, basically. We really got into this meeting, this young man really got into it because he called my mother a crackhead, and my mother never used any type of drugs. She doesn't even know how to smoke cigarettes, but I let it get the best of me. And so back then I was a lot wilder. I'm not wild now, but I was really wild. I just would fight kind of like at the drop of a dime, especially if you said something about my mother, you know. So I got kicked out. Make a long story short, I got kicked out of that school, had to go to court, got kicked out, and was sent to a alternative school 2 blocks away, okay? 2 blocks away. I would skip school. I would fight in school. I wouldn't do my homework assignments. So what did that lead me to do? To get kicked out and then go to alternative high school, and then what? Start my life all over again for some bullshit that I could have just fucking avoided. Also, besides that, is I was pregnant at 17 and had my first kid when I turned 18, okay? My first kid. And it was no fun. It was no walk in the park. It was not fun at all, let me tell you. So I didn't have a car, but my mother really wasn't going for the bullshit. My mom never had 2 kids at 18. She had me when she just turned 20. So it still is young, but you know what I'm saying? She was married to my dad. However, it's hard. And if I could change anything about my life, I think I would change that, because I should have listened to my mother and stayed my ass in school and did my work and stopped fucking around and stopped just doing dumb shit. Maybe I would just be better off in life. I'm not saying that I ain't now, but things happen for reasons and things don't. But sometimes you can avoid certain situations in life if you just do the right thing. Education is a really important thing. And smiling up in the next man's face and next man's face all the time ain't about shit. All he wants you for is what's between your legs. And after he's gotten that, what are you? You're nothing to him. You're really no good. He really doesn't care. He's using you for what you have, your car. Now you don't have that car no more. And where's that dude? If he crashed it, he's gone. You don't have anything that he can use anymore. So what does he need you for? He can get the next pussy with 4 wheels and keep on smoking and driving out with her, okay? So he's got pussy and wheels. And he probably got a little bit of money in his pocket from either her or himself. Either way. But Cynthia, if you want to continue to keep doing dumb shit, you ain't going to add up to much in life, and you ain't going to be able to just all I'm going to say is it's just going to be real fucking hard for you, okay? And I'm pretty sure the way you're walking around half dressed, you want to keep that little figure, because if you do, pretty soon you keep adding up, walking up in dude's face and sleeping with this one and sleeping with that one, you're going to have a baby just like your mother did at that age. And I'm not saying babies are a bad thing. The kids are a blessing, okay? They are just a total blessing until they grow the fuck up. But kids are a blessing. But at 18, I'm pretty sure you don't want to be pushing no baby around in a stroller. It's hard out there. My suggestion, my advice to you would be to take your ass to school and finish what you started, okay? Finish what you started. Take it from me. I was 18 when I had my first kid, and I lived with my mom. We lived in the projects. I'm from the projects, you know what I'm saying? We lived in the projects. Me, my mom, my little sister, and my son. Okay, me and my sister already shared a room. Now I got my baby in there. Why would I want to, I'm putting my little sister out, because I wanted to run around and fuck and do dumb shit as a kid. You know what I mean? That was me. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to listen to my mom, and I should have listened to my mom, because my mom was telling me for certain reasons, because she was working in a factory and she wanted better for me, okay? So I lived at home with my mom. Me and my mom started kind of clashing. We didn't get along that great, so I ended up leaving and staying with my best friend, or one of my best friends. And I lived with her in this roach-infested apartment. I was living in New York City. We couldn't really afford much. And I didn't have a dime to my name, 2 nickels to rub together. And I was 18 years old with a baby. So what did I have to do to survive? I had to get on welfare, okay? I had to get on welfare, get cash assistance, get food stamps, get Medicaid. This is what I had to do to survive, to take care of me and my kid. And let me tell you something. It is no fun sitting down there at the Department of Social Services trying to get food stamps and child care and daycare and whatever kind of care, because you could have avoided it at that age. Some people need it in life, and that is to be expected, and that's fine. But when you're 18, you could avoid all that bullshit, okay? And sit your ass in your classroom and do your work. But no, April learned the hard way about having a child. And eventually I came to my senses, and I got a job, and I did what I needed to do to take care of me and my son. Finally, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna tell you something. It was a long road before I really was able to stand up on my own 2 feet. Even though I got a job, do you really think because I'm 18 that I'm gonna get a good job? No, I didn't get to finish high school, okay, because I was pregnant. So I had to drop out of high school, and I went many years without a high school diploma or a GED, many years like that, okay? So the jobs that I was getting were very minimal. They weren't paying a lot, so I still had to have some type of public aid help, okay? This is what my life had became in the first few years of my early life. And I finally was like, you know what, woke up. I was still young. I was like in my 20s, and I woke up. I woke up in another state. Not even another state, but I moved upstate New York, where it was more affordable, and I was able to get onto get on my feet and work and find a better job and a better place to live and get some education. And this took me a while, okay? I was 18, so when I was like about 30, this is where it all came to play perfectly for me, okay? That's only like 11 years ago. 11, 12 years ago is when I really was like, you know what? I could do me now. It took me that fucking long, okay? And I'm never embarrassed to say it, because some people come on and they portray themselves like, oh, they better than anybody else. But yes, it took me like 11 years to get on my feet and finally be stable to where I don't need anybody to help me. I got a good ass paying job, which I had a wonderful job as a senior VP for marketing and health insurance, okay? And I did my thing, and I was so proud of myself. I've had many jobs before that, but this was like the job that was my career, okay? So it took me a minute, and all of that could have been avoided if I would have just listened to my mom and stopped running up and down the streets. I was never running up in men's face, because that wasn't my thing. I had a boyfriend, but I would skip school to be with him and go have sex and do dumb shit like that, you know. But it still you running back and forth in this dude's face, walking down the street half naked. If you got a little body, that's nice, but some women just really don't know how to carry themselves. Just because you're thin and you got a little body or shape does not mean that everybody needs to see your fucking skin, okay? People say I have a nice shape. I really don't. I got a stomach, and if I didn't have a stomach, I still wouldn't be outside half dressed, because I just find that there's a time and a place for everything, and I'm just not about to walk all around town with all my goods and my ass cheeks hanging out of my pants or my dress. That's just not my thing. And then when men look at me, the first thing they looking at me is because of what I've got on, okay? Not because of just who I am, but that's the first attraction. You can, that's like when we see dudes and he could be built, muscular, looking good. That's the first attraction. Like, damn, dude look good. Nigga look good, okay? Trust me. So Cynthia, your mom or whoever in your family may be telling you something, they only telling you for your own good. Take the advice from them, and if you cannot take it from them, take it from me. Because like I said, I have now 5 children. So I had one at 18 and I had another, I think, when I was like 21. I still wasn't all together, and I still was having kids, and I still was needing help to take care of my kids. You don't want to become a statistic. So don't repeat the cycle which your mom did. No disrespect to your mom, never that, but I'm pretty sure she wants more for you as well, or else she wouldn't be telling you. So get your shit together, finish school. You in an alternative school. You've already moved down to an alternative school. Finish it and graduate and become something, and get yourself a new job and a new car, and focus on your work, not no man, because they come and go. They are like a dime a dozen. The same way they feel about us is the same way we could feel about them. My friend, my bestie, she says to me all the time, April, you act like a boy. You act like a boy. After my husband and me split up, I might have acted like a boy, because you know why? Niggas come and they say the dumbest shit sometimes out their mouth. They got game for days. Game for days. And you know what? This one right here, I got game for days too. Because if you spitting that nonsense to me and you think it's something that I want to hear, I'm going to spit it right back to you, because I'm no fool and I'm nobody's dummy. You ain't about to pull the wool over my eyes and think what you said to me, you're going to get into my panties. Don't work like that with me. So yeah, sometimes I may do act like a boy with my feelings, you know what I mean, because I'm not about to get caught up in no bullshit, and I have a man, you know what I mean. And sometimes I may act kind of cruel, or not even cruel, but I'm stern with him, because I don't put up with bullshit, and I'm not so emotional with him, because I've been there and done that, and I've already known how it's took over my heart and it's hurt my heart. So a lot of times I have this wall built up, and eventually, gradually, I will allow it to crumble. But until then, I'm not about to let you step on my toes and take me out of my character or my place. So what I'm trying to say to you, Cynthia, is stop letting these dudes run all over you and take you out of your place and smile up in your face, because all they want is what's between your legs, and there ain't nothing more than that, or what you driving. And right now you ain't driving nothing but a bus pass. So get it together, boo-boo. Get it together. So let Cynthia know, ladies, what you think about her situation, and if you got any advice for her as well. We're going to get on to number 3. Yes, 3, y'all. Okay, 3. I know y'all are like, what the hell? But it's 3. I'm going to call this one here Bridget. Let's see. Yeah, we'll call her Bridget. Okay. Hi, Miss April. I'm 25 years old with a 3-year-old daughter and currently 6.5 months pregnant, living with my parents and 2 other grown siblings. I know I'm too grown to be living in my parents' house, but if it wasn't for me getting pregnant with my first daughter, I wouldn't have moved back. Being that was their first grandchild, my mom wanted me back home, so I went. Recently, I got into a big argument over the fact that they treat my daughter differently whenever my 1-year-old nephew comes over. Yes, I know he's still a baby, but that's no reason for them to treat her the way they do. Whenever he is here, they fuss and yell at my daughter for every little thing, and now she cries a lot because of that. I know you're supposed to respect your parents, especially while living under their roof, but I'm not about to let anybody mistreat my child, and I'm ashamed to have let them do that for so long, simply because of the fact I could never find permanent employment. They take care of her financially, which I am very grateful for, but they act as though I have never worked. In this town, most of the jobs are going to the college students or high school kids. The only jobs I can seem to get are temporary and only last 2 to 5 weeks. My sister that lives here works, but she pawns my nephew off to anybody who will take him. Yet my parents don't say anything to her, but will find fault with me about anything. Well, I called them out on their bullshit, and that's when the shit hit the fan. Everything I said was the truth, and they couldn't handle it. Now they're saying that I called them bad parents, and that me and my 3 siblings hate them, when none of those words came out of my mouth. I'll admit I was disrespectful with the cursing, but they were ganging up on me and cursing me as well, especially my mom. But all I was simply doing was standing up for my child. Sorry for the long letter, but I'm at the end of my rope, and I feel stuck living here. I have no money and nowhere else to go. Even as I'm writing you this, I'm crying my eyes out because I really don't know what to do anymore. I don't know anything about Section 8, and I'm not too keen on defects because all in my business. I don't know what defects is. Any advice or tips would extremely be appreciated. So I don't really know what she says when she says I'm not too keen on defects being all in my business. I'm not really sure about that. Okay, Bridget. I'm gonna call her Bridget. So Bridget is 6.5 months pregnant. She lives at home with her parents. She has a child already that is 3, a little girl, and she doesn't work. She has nowhere else to go. Her parents are basically treating Bridget's daughter like just a stepchild when their new grandchild, who's 1, comes over, which is Bridget's sister. And so Bridget, I guess, basically got tired of it. She kind of called them out on it, and it became a big, huge just fight. Not a physical fight, but an argument, a verbal argument. People were cursing at one another. Her parents were cursing at her, especially her mom, and she was in return cursing back at her mom. She did admit to cursing at her mom and that it was disrespectful, but she just was standing up for her child. So she has nowhere to go. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know much about Section 8. And I'm not really sure what DFACS is all in her business. Maybe it's Department of Social Services, and that's just like abbreviation for it. But yeah. So she wants to know what to do. And she's 25. So this is what I was saying just recently about what I had to go through in life. You are 25 years old, you have a 3-year-old, which means you gave birth to her at 22, and now you're 6.5 months pregnant. You don't have any money or anywhere to go. What I want to know, Bridget, is where's your baby father? I'm not sure if you have the same baby father for your 2 children, the one that you're carrying and the one you already have. If not, then you have 2 different fathers. Where are the both of them? Because they need to be giving you some money to help take care of your child, not your parents. Yeah, it's fine and dandy for grandparents to take care of their kids, because I take care of my grandson. My daughter works though too. But when she wasn't working, I made sure that that little boy had everything, but she works, and I watch him for her for free because that's just what I do. But she does need to show some type of stability and some responsibility. So I understand a lot of people say, oh, the town only gives jobs to the college students and so forth. That may be the case because you know why? They don't have that much skill. Some of them don't have so many skills where they require a lot of pay. However, I need to know, where are your fathers at? Where are these children's fathers at that can help you take care of your kids financially? If not, then you need to go to court and get yourself some child support. Now, as far as you and your parents arguing, okay, yes, we as family members, that's what we do in life. We argue with one another. Doesn't make it wrong, doesn't make it right, but there's always a solution, hopefully, at the end of this debate. Sometimes it does get out of hand. I have had situations like that as a child, as a teen, as an adult with my own mother, where we have gotten into arguments and we didn't speak to each other for months. Never once have I cursed at her, though. I've never cursed at her. However, she has said some mean, hurtful things to me that I just didn't approve of, so I did stop speaking to her for a few months. And we don't speak right now as much as we used to and should have, only because we're so far, and there's certain things that she does that I just don't approve of, which is my oldest son, who's 23, who treats me like shit, is really disrespectful to me. She sides with him, and she really treats him as though he's the only grandchild. And I've had many talks with her about this. Many talks. And when I say that, Bridget, it's because I have 5 kids, and my mom only would send my oldest, who's 23, stuff in the mail. And my other kids wouldn't get anything. She'd only basically ask about my son. How's Jerron? How's Jerron? What about your other grandkids? What about them? How do you feel about them? You're not saying anything about them. When's their birthdays? What is their names? Why are you asking me shit like this? This is your grandkids and you're asking me stuff like this. So that makes me feel a certain type of way. So yes, when me and my mom aren't getting along too well, we kind of lose communication, but I never curse at her because that's my mom and I love her. And just because she's your mother or your parents, it does not mean that everything that comes out of our mouths as parents are right. It doesn't mean that. So that you have to kind of like just bite your tongue on. Yeah, it wasn't right that your mom cursed at you, but at the end of the day, that's your mom. It's the end of the day, and we only have one mother in our lives, and that's a lot to do with how I don't understand how my son could treat me the way he does. You only have one mother. I've done everything and anything for that boy. I bought him a car. I paid for him, his girlfriend, and his son to get here to Arizona on a plane. I paid for all their furniture in their new apartment. I gave them food baskets. I sent them big boxes of toys for Christmas, for just because, big boxes of snacks, clothes. This is everything I've done, okay? I've done more than that and then some, but he just treats me like I ain't shit, okay? So I don't blame nobody but me sometimes, because maybe I shouldn't have gave you nothing. Maybe I shouldn't have forgave you, and maybe that would have made things better. But it's neither here or there. We don't speak. Him and I don't speak, and I'm fine with that. You can just leave me be. You stay over there, and I'm going to stay right here. But I'm still your mother at the end of the day. And for you to disrespect your mom is a really hurtful thing to us. Have you ever thought to sit down calmly with your parents and say, listen, this is what I've noticed when you are watching my daughter and then my nephew comes over. This is how I've noticed things. And they may not be doing it intentionally. You know, some things are not done intentionally, purposely. They, excuse me, they may not be doing it intentionally. You know what I mean? He may be doing it because he's a little tiny baby, and he's not really tiny, he's only 1. And then she, who's 3. So they may not be like treating them different intentionally. It's just that the age gap, that maybe how they can communicate with one. And I don't think it's right to be yelling at a 3-year-old like that. A good stern word and a good talking to is always the proper way to go about it with a 3-year-old or with anybody, more or less, because yelling does not make any situation better. But I think that you waited too long for this to be able to communicate with them, and it just started boiling up inside and boiling up inside. So what I would suggest for you to do is to give them a good sit down and talk and apologize to your mom. If you can't talk to her right now because you're feeling some type of way, write her a letter, okay, and just place it somewhere where she can see it and find it and read it, and then she'll come to you on her own terms and when she feels ready and talk to you. But try to apologize, and also write in a letter why you went off like that. It'll make the situation a lot easier. Sometimes you gotta just sit back and just ease up on the person. Now, as far as not knowing about Section 8, every state is different from Section 8. A lot of states have a freeze on Section 8 to where you have to wait a year or 2 to get onto the Section 8 waiting list. Sometimes what you can do is go to public housing, which is part of Section 8. Housing Authority is part of Section 8, which is like the projects, but in different states it's different and not big buildings in every state. But what I would suggest, because you're about to have another baby, go inquire about public housing. Google Housing Authority for your state. So if you live in the state of Arizona, put Housing Authority Arizona or Housing Authority California or whatever state you're in. It'll give you the phone number, so that way you can get on a Section 8 waiting list, but you can also get into like public housing where your electricity and your water will be free and your rent will either be free or low, okay? That is one place where you need to start. You're about to have a baby. You don't need to be at home anymore. That is your problem that you dealt with getting pregnant, again, living at home. So what I would suggest is go to public housing, go to the Housing Authority and inquire about getting yourself a place to stay for you and your daughter and new baby. The waiting list sometimes for that can go just this quick, okay? Also, go to social services. Like I said, yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, sister, to get ahead. Get yourself some food stamps. They can also help you get child support, so that way you can get financial aid, some financial stability for your children, and your parents don't have to take care of her. sometimes as parents and we're taking care of our grandkids and we got all this load on our back, it does overwhelm us and we kind of take it out on the other people that don't deserve it. So when you're living at home and you're eating up their food, you're using up their electricity, cable, water, or whatever else, and they're watching your daughter and they're taking care of her financially, they feel like that is a load. It sometimes can be a burden because this is not our responsibility. So my suggestion, social services. Get yourself some child support. Get yourself some food stamps. And get yourself a place to live with Housing Authority. They will be able to help you, Bridget. Definitely. So on that note, let Bridget know all your feelings onto that. And stop arguing with your mom. And make sure you write her a letter of apology. And put all your comments below. And as always, you can email me at MuffinIsMyLovers2012. And as always, stay diva and divalicious. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video.